Hi, I'm Paul Hubman from East West Gateway. I'd like to thank you for joining us to talk about your community. The City of Muscuda was awarded a planning assistance grant through East West Gateway Council of Governments to strengthen and enhance Main Street. The result will be a plan document that clarifies your community's vision for downtown and serve as a tool for city staff for the next several years. While the focus is on Main Street between Mine Road and 6th Street, a related goal is to improve community access to it and various other community spaces and institutions. City Manager Brad Myers and Assistant City Manager Carrie Spear of Muscuda are collaborating with East West Gateway staff Bailey DeYoung and myself to manage the process and the project team. The team itself is comprised primarily of Marty Schukert, an urban planner, Jackie Knight, specializing in multimodal transportation planning, landscape architect Gabe Presley, and Richa Singh, a market analyst and planner. We have an excellent team and we're all very glad to be working together in Muscuda. I'll start by describing the program that we're using here, the Great Streets Initiative. Streets like Main Street and Muscuda do much more than move cars. Automobiles are essential to the life of your community, but streets like this predate the automobile by some decades. Main Street was built for a broad range of functions. Recognizing this, we build a team of technically diverse planners and work with the community to consider how a given street can best support all of its functions for everyone who uses it. The way we have invested in our streets, particularly since the 1950s, has often focused on automobiles at the expense of local businesses, walkability, environmental functions, and the character that makes it a place people want to be. By defining a street more broadly to include the local economy, environmental impacts, travelers, driving, biking, and walking, and the quality of public space, we can help streets like Main Street become stronger assets for their community. Function, longevity, and enjoyable space are paramount. The project's team's technical acumen and experience doesn't work without direct and frank discussion with the Muscuda community, which is why community engagement is central to this planning process. We work to integrate technical expertise with local knowledge. Our goal is to deliver a plan that is practical, desirable, buildable, and maintainable. I would like to explain our format and goals for this discussion. Because of the pandemic, we're primarily interacting online. However, if you know someone who doesn't have access to or is uncomfortable using online technology, please contact us using the phone number on this page so we can provide a paper copy of this presentation and the questionnaires. We need the community's input and we'll do what we can to include everyone in the process. This is the first of 3 rounds of community outreach, each one lasting a little over a week. Each time, a series of presentation segments will be posted to the project webpage on the city's website. Each segment has a related survey of questions. Please take a few minutes to fill out the surveys. They help the project team to move in the right direction. We pledge to respect your time, listen, and deliver a plan that the community can get behind. The intent of this first round is to share technical data and analysis from the planning team and to clarify the community's goals and priorities. Each of the presentation segments focuses on a specific planning topic: urban design and land use, market analysis, environmental components, and transportation. The final survey asks some broader questions. If there are additional concerns, comments, or questions you would like to share, please email them to muscuda@ewgateway.org. The focus of the second round of engagement will be to assess various options. The third round of outreach will be to review a draft plan and discuss how and when to implement the plan and maintain it over time. In 2006, East West Gateway established the Great Streets Initiative Planning Program around a core set of principles. They emphasize the range of priorities and drive the process. Great streets are great places, local identity and walkability. They integrate land use and transportation planning, designing to a vision. They accommodate all users in all modes. They are economically vibrant, environmentally responsible, and they rely on current thinking. They are measurable and they develop collaboratively. Each of the project team members is skilled in their specific area, but we don't pretend to understand Muscuda in the same way as the people who live and work here. The main goal of our process is to wed technical planning information and experience with the community's local knowledge and needs. So we will come together at key points throughout the process to share our thoughts and get your response and input. The end document will be a somewhat limited plan with more focus on utility than polish. This is a factor of the broad nature of our planning approach and the deliberately condensed and efficient project schedule. We have found that this approach works well in communities such as yours with clear objectives. Our main task is to consider two different scales. The upper image defines the main project area. We're including the properties along the roadway, not just the space between the curbs. We feel it's essential to consider the land use and development patterns in tandem with the roadway itself. In fact, the roadway design should support the properties along it. In the central section of the main project area, we're including the full blocks extending to State and Church Streets. This is to include the large parking areas behind the buildings along Main Street in our planning efforts. The broader scale diagram underneath focuses on community connectivity to Main Street, the neighborhoods, the schools, and parks. The intention is to expand upon the new bike and pedestrian path to really integrate the neighborhoods to some of Muscuta's greatest assets. The document that we develop will capture your community's goals and vision, record the decisions that were made, and outline specific recommended steps to achieve them. Recommendations will likely include things like zoning adjustments, streetscape improvements, investments in expanding Muscuta's greenway paths, marketing strategies, and site-specific development suggestions. Where possible, expected costs or additional work will be outlined. Phasing in priority projects will also be outlined. Potential partnerships and funding sources will be discussed. We will develop a practical plan to implement your vision, so your involvement does not disappear when this plan is complete. Hopefully the process will raise some expectations while outlining tasks and supporting roles for the business community, residents, city staff, and other groups and individuals. The technical planning team will be gone in a few months. This plan will be yours to implement. We'll do what we can to arm you with sound information and the tools to achieve your goals. When we are done, we will deliver the plan document. Equally important is a successful planning process. A successful and productive community engagement process can build upon or establish expectations that the people of Muscuta can be a meaningful part of tackling local challenges and helping steer their city's future. I hope this explains what we are doing and why we rely on your input. Thank you again for your attention and time. Please continue by viewing the other presentations and answering the survey questions. We will see you again soon.